Hello friends, how are you all? I hope you all enjoyed our previous session on various challenges with regard to urban problems, and we have discussed about issues like drinking water, sewerage, and also a very challenging situation of urban poverty. Today let us try to understand the various aspects of environmental pollution and the challenges which arise out of these environmental problems. You all are familiar with it. It is not a very innovative or new aspect to it, but it is extremely important for us to constantly keep reminding ourselves about these environmental challenges. Environmental problems in urban areas are growing, especially in cities in developing countries, owing to a phase of economic transition. Of greatest concern are the state of air quality, noise and congestion. Urban ecosystems are indicated by very high energy consumption and large amounts of solid waste that accumulate in certain places. In this way, they represent landscape degradation and adversely affect the quality of urban environment. When we try to go deeper into environment and urban pollution, what we understand is urbanization has led to intense concentration of population, industry and energy use, leading to a massive local pollution and environmental degradation. It has been estimated that in the cities, approximately 78% of carbon emissions are due to human activities. The ecological footprints of cities go, that is through emissions, consumption and other human activities, far beyond their urban boundaries to forests, agriculture, water and other surfaces which supply their residents, so that they have an enormous impact on the surrounding rural, regional and global ecosystems. Friends, you all know that cities are dynamic centers of consumption, greenhouse gas production, waste and emissions of pollutants in water and air through industrial and vehicular emissions respectively. Urban air pollution occurs as a result of rapid industrialization and increased vehicular traffic. Urban areas have tremendous environmental impact because of this. This becomes more challenging and serious in the background of the fact that world is facing enormous environmental challenges in terms of climate change, resource use and protection of the natural environment. The population growth in the cities, especially in developing countries like India or Pakistan or Bangladesh, it has exerted lot of pressure on the basic and necessary infrastructure and services. Moreover, the inadequate water supply to households, the accumulation of waste and unhygienic conditions not only impact health but also the environment. It is estimated that worldwide urban air pollution is cause of 1 million premature deaths each year and costs 2% of the GDP in developed countries and 5% in developing countries. It is a devastating statistics in fact. The various urban environmental problems are strongly connected with inadequate water supply, waste management, loss of green and natural spaces, urban sprawl, pollution of soil, air, traffic noise, etc. Thus, the environmental problems in urban areas are growing, especially in cities in developing countries, owing to a phase of economic transition. Of greatest concern are the state of air quality, noise and congestion, and urban ecosystems are indicated by very high energy consumption and large amounts of solid waste that accumulate in certain places. In this way, they represent the landscape degradation factor and adversely affect the quality of water resources and urban air. In our previous session on sewage, drinking water, also we have come across such issues and challenges. Some of the types of pollution affecting urban environment, as you all are aware, is air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution, radioactive pollution, visual pollution, and also thermal pollution. When we talk about air pollution, the urban air is constantly being polluted with gases from burning fossil fuels and exhaust fumes from automobiles, factories, power generators, and also harmful fumes from chemicals such as paint, plastic, and toxic spills. All these elements, they tend to disturb the natural composition of air and make it harmful for our health. Keeping the air quality at a safe level is one of the major challenges faced by modern urban communities today. A whopping 9 in 10 people on earth, yes friends, 9 in 10 people on earth breathe highly polluted air, and more than 80% of urban dwellers have to endure outdoor pollution that exceeds health standards according to World Health Organization's World Global Ambient Air Quality Database. But even among the countries gasping for breath, India stands out for air that is consistently, epically terrible. Moreover, drawing on the measurements and calculations as of 2016, almost 5 years back, from air monitoring stations in 4,300 cities, the World Health Organization reported in March 2018 that India's cities suffer the most. Dozens of other Indian cities are dealing with severe pollution too, but many of the particulates that blanket the metro regions originate in rural areas, and rural areas are just as badly affected by poor air, if not so more so. In 2015, about 75% of deaths linked to air pollution in India, some 1.1 million people, occurred in rural areas. 2/3 of India's population still lives outside of cities, and 80% of these households rely on biomass like wood and dung for cooking and heating. Moreover, agricultural practices like burning crop stubble also remain widespread. As for India's sudden rise in rankings, a big factor is that pollution in many of these cities is being measured and reported for the first time, meaning the problem may have always been there but hadn't drawn the same level of attention. When we talk about how can we curb air pollution, millions of lives could be saved and 1 billion people living in Asia could be breathing clean air by 2030 if 25 simple and cost-effective measures are implemented according to a United Nations report. A report from United Nations Environment Programme UNEP looks at science-based solutions to air pollution in Asia and the Pacific region. The release of the report comes on the heels of a major new report by World Health Organization, which says that at least 60,987 children in India under the age of 5 died in 2016 due to causes linked to air pollution. The UNEP report says that these 25 solutions, while they recommend tackling air pollution, UNEP says that implementing these measures would result in a 20% reduction in carbon dioxide and 45% reduction in methane emissions preventing up to a third of a degree Celsius in global warming. Friends, please take a minute and think that environmental pollution is strongly connected with global warming. So, if you have to address global warming, you have to address environmental issues also. Moreover, there are estimates that these measures would help 1 billion people breathe cleaner air by 2030. So, what are these steps? Let us try to understand that. About 7 million people worldwide die prematurely every year from air pollution related diseases. The Asia Pacific region accounts for 2/3 of these deaths, and India is struggling with 14 of the 20 most polluted cities of the world according to WHO. So, probably you and I are living in probably the most polluted cities of the world, which is a very sad state of affairs. Premature deaths linked to air pollution in India account for 25% of the global deaths, and the science-based solutions, let us try to understand that. As I mentioned, UNEP's report has made the 25 solutions taking into account the diversity of Asia and Pacific region. Their measures can be categorized into 3 types. One set of measures looks at increasing emission standards for vehicles, power plants and industry. Another set, it looks at the reduction in burning of waste and proper management of livestock manure. A third set of solution, it looks at renewable energy. As conventional measures, the report suggests post-combustion controls. This means end of pipe measures to reduce sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides and particulate emissions at power stations and in large scale industry. Moreover, industrial process emission standards, especially for iron and steel plants, cement factories, glass production, chemical industry and emission standards for road vehicles, maintenance of vehicles and dust control. In the second category of measures, the report suggests dealing with and regulating agricultural crop residues, residential waste burning, forest fires, livestock manure management, nitrogen fertilizers, brick kilns, international shipping, solvent use and refineries. In the third category of measures, the UNEP report discusses regulating cooking and heating fuels, power generation, energy efficiency in house and industries, electric vehicles, public transport, solid waste management, water treatment and hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants. The UNEP report, my dear friends, also talks about India's efforts to deal with agricultural residue, where the government has been asking power companies to buy agricultural residues and convert it into biomass pellets, and the government's efforts to reduce nitrogen based fertilizer usage. The government has started an initiative for coating urea nitrogen with neem oil, a nitrification inhibitor that can reduce nitrogen loss by 10 to 15%. The report talks about the persistent problems in India of indoor air pollution due to traditional cooking and heating practices in India. The contribution of indoor air pollution to ambient air pollution is estimated to vary between 22 and 52% in India. Cleaning up household cooking and heating in India will substantially improve ambient air quality in the air as well, according to several studies all over the country. On this, the report cites India's Cook Stove program, which aims to help approximately 100 million households with modernizing their cooking stoves. This includes India's national program for improved chulhas, that is stoves, National Biomass Cook Stoves Initiative, and Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. This particular scheme is considered a flagship scheme for this government, and although being widely publicized by the government, has been found to be inflating its figures of success and with poor implementation on the ground. When we talk about water pollution, the polluted runoff from factories, farmlands, raw sewage, industrial waste and household garbage being washed away by rain and mixed with water resources pollute the natural water resources such as lakes, rivers, groundwater and oceans. Moreover, the agricultural runoff affects groundwater and surface water sources as they contain pesticide and fertilizer residues. Fertilizers have an indirect adverse impact on water resources. Indeed, by increasing the nutritional content of water courses, the fertilizers allow organisms to proliferate. These organisms may be disease vectors or algae. The proliferation of algae may slow the flow in water courses, thus increasing the proliferation of organisms and sedimentation problem. WHO has defined a permissible limit of concentration of nitrates of 45 mg per liter of nitrous oxide, which is also accepted by the Indian Council of Medical Research (ICMR). The disposal of household garbage is not done by taking necessary precautions, especially when disposing hazardous materials such as car batteries, appliances, electronics or oil. One of the serious causes of water pollution is industrial pollution. Leather and tanning industries, oil industries and chemical manufacturing company waste and more industries waste which are directly flushed into water source. Most of the industrial pollution, it consists of chemicals like lead, mercury and cured petrochemicals which are extremely dangerous for humans and the environment. All these wastes are directly linked with water sources and they are not purified before exiting the industries. This affects the provisions for drinking water and also the marine life. Friends, you may wonder that why we need to talk about marine life. We all are aware about the ecosystems. So, marine life and the tertiary life, they are very much interconnected. So, pollution in marine life will also directly or indirectly impact our pollution on the land areas, and pollution in marine life will directly or indirectly enter into our food habits as well. Moreover, when we talk about air pollution leads to acid rain which reduces the oxygen value in the water. The receiving water bodies also do not have adequate water flow for dilution. Therefore, the oxygen demand and bacterial pollution is increasing. Another aspect of water pollution in India is inadequate infrastructure comprising of monitoring stations and frequency of monitoring of pollution. Household borne effluents contribute a substantial proportion of water pollution in India. However, about 70% of the effluents are not treated and disposed into the environmental media untreated. Lack of water, sanitation and hygiene results in the loss of almost all 0.4 million lives, while air pollution contributes to death of 0.52 million people annually in India. The acts that directly concern water pollution in India are the Water Act 1974, the Water Cess Act 1977 and 1988 and the Environmental Protection Act 1986. While the first two of these acts are foundational legislations in the context of water pollution in the country, EPA or Environmental Protection Act is designed to fill the gaps still remaining in the legal framework for the control of industrial pollution. My dear friends, I am sure after trying to assess the consequences of water pollution, we all are very keen to understand that how we can curb this water pollution. So, let us try to understand some of these aspects. So, laws must be enforced to ensure that the industries do the treatment of waste before the water is discharged into the rivers and seas. There has to be responsible role by the industries. Many industries directly flow their waste everywhere which reaches rivers through rainwater. To prevent water pollution from industrial waste, it is required that these wastes should be disposed of properly. It is important to avoid hazardous material. In the places where paints, cleaning and stain removal chemicals are used, it is required to arrange for the safe disposal of the waste and the contaminated water coming out of these factories. When we are talking about oil leak from cars and other machines have posed very big threat, and these have become major contributors for water pollution not only in India but also globally. So, to prevent water pollution, the drains are required to be cleaned on a regular basis. In the rural areas, pakka drains are required to be made. There is need to develop a technology to keep the drains away from the water sources. Recycling and reuse are other ways to prevent water pollution, which can definitely improve the availability of fresh water. Further, to prevent water from getting polluted, we are also required to prevent soil erosion. If there is soil conservation, we can stop water pollution up to some extent. We will have to plant more trees to stop soil erosion. So, afforestation is very important. Making Swachh Bharat Abhiyan a very critical program, it has to be made successful. Cleaning is required on a regular basis as water of the rivers, ponds and even our groundwater has also been contaminated by us, the humans. Effective steps should be taken to outlaw the dumping of waste into river or other water sources. Adopting organic farming is the need of the hour. There are some algae and water plants available which are helpful in keeping the water clean, and they should be grown all over in the water bodies. Planting water hyacinth helps to treat the polluted water. It deals with the biological and chemical waste also at the same time. The heavy metals are also removed by such kind of hyacinths. Garbage in the cities and towns should be classified and thrown into designated dustbins only. The biodegradable garbage can be used as compost in the fields, and thus these can help in the production of the crops. Dead bodies, we have the practice of throwing the dead bodies into water sources. So, dead bodies should not be thrown into any kind of water sources or rivers. We need to discourage the use of materials such as plastic, as it does not destroy biologically. There is also need, my dear friends, to initiate scientific experiments that can put pollutants into useful items. In homes, water should be made germ-free by chlorine tablets, iodine, etc. Nowadays, there is a variety of good quality filters available in the market that can also be used, and I am sure we all use in our respective homes. To destroy bacteria in the water, chemical substances such as bleaching powder should also be used, and we should not, I am emphasizing this, we should not tamper with public water distribution meters. And moreover, immersion of idols during religious ceremonies to be done at the appointed place only and not at all the water bodies. Pollutants can be converted into non-toxic substances by treatment. The presence of radioactive waste in water can be removed by oxidation of ponds, and one must avoid the large ponds as sunlight combined with organic nutrients may lead to larger growth of bacteria which breed the waste matter. The reclaimed polluted water can be used in making fertilizers as it is rich in phosphorus, potassium and nitrogen. It can also be used for irrigation and factory purposes. There is need to set up more sewage treatment plants that play a crucial role in the reclaimed polluted water. Dear friends, in our previous session when I was talking that Jal hi Jeevan hai and we need to save every drop of water, and in today's session when we are trying to address the challenge of water pollution, we have to remember one thing, that it is we who are polluting the air, it is we who are polluting the water, and the solution should come from us. There is no point in blaming others, blaming the government for all such purposes, and that is why as a student of sociology, I always believe in the concept of community participation. So, apart from air pollution and water pollution, noise pollution, I think we all are victims of that. Living in noisy conditions has far-reaching health hazards also, like headaches, insomnia, that is not getting sleep, hearing loss, and may also disrupt the standard of living in the affected area. Noise may lead to increased stress, deafness, sleep disruptions and loss of concentration. The adverse health effects of noise are auditory disorders such as hearing impairment, tinnitus, earache, noise-induced hearing loss and non-auditory manifestations which includes headaches, psychological disturbances manifested by irritability and also inability to concentrate on one's work, thereby reducing the work efficiency. Disturbances in sleep and rest and also interference with speech communication. Noise is very difficult to define, but I will make an attempt. Noise can be defined as an unwanted or undeniable sound. The noise pollution from moving vehicles, industrial noise and transport noise not only affects humans but also animals, and that is why, my dear friends, during the time of Diwali, lot many advisories are issued so that we can curtail not only air pollution but also noise pollution and also safeguard our animals in the homes or otherwise other animals as well. Noises up to 115 decibels are acceptable and tolerable, but any noise above that can affect our regular life. As per industrial standards, a level of 85 decibel is only accepted. Compared to air and water pollution, the harmful effects are less from noise. Noise pollution is recognized as part of air pollution under section 2, clause A of Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Moreover, with more flights being launched in the country and more vehicles being purchased, more honking on the streets, more marriages, more house parties, more firecrackers. Festivals, they record the highest levels of noise pollution as they see an amalgamation of loudspeakers, traffic as well as firecrackers. Friends, now let us discuss about visual pollution. You must be wondering what is this visual pollution, how visuals can be polluted, and that is why this type of pollution is a unique evil in urban areas. Our cities, you must have seen, they are often polluted with signs, advertisements and overly illuminated billboard lights that are often unattractive, causing an eyesore. Visual pollution can also lower or degrade living standards, lifestyle and property values also. So, all types of pollution are undesirable and lead to health hazards. They are also linked with our lifestyle and well-being in so many ways. For example, light pollution is linked with energy consumption, which would mean electric power plants would have to burn more fossil fuels. Burning of fossil fuels contribute to air pollution, which has immediate health effects. So, I hope you are able to see this vicious circle of the connection between different types of pollution. Understanding and reducing the cycle of pollution is the first step for us to start living a better life and improve our standard of living as citizens of this world. We can all make a few adjustments in our lifestyle and make this planet a lot better for all of us. We also have pollutions like soil pollution, thermal pollution, radioactive pollution, which are also in a way kind of evolving dimensions of pollution. And I request you all to kindly further explore on these kinds of pollution also, because soil pollution is straight away connected with our agricultural production as well as our water pollution. Radioactive waste in water can have devastating health effects beyond our imagination. So friends, a better reading on all these kinds of pollution will not only strengthen us, but it will also help us to understand how to overcome this. My dear friends, in this session we have tried to understand the challenges of environmental pollution. You all are aware that we are facing global warming, we are facing climate change, and if we are talking about sustainable development, which is the key word in contemporary discussions at local level as well as global level. So, if we have to ensure sustainable development, we have to address the challenges of environmental pollution, no matter whatever type of pollution it is, whether it is air, water, soil, thermal, radioactive pollution or visual pollution or your noise pollution, all these things, they impact our life, they impact our living, they impact the entire mankind. And please do not be under the impression that there will be some alien factors coming and addressing this. We are the creators of the problem. We will also have to solve the problem with collective efforts, and I am sure you all will agree with me on this collective efforts. And on these issues, if you have any concerns, any queries, any suggestions or anything which you think that you should share with me, please feel free to write to me at pandevini@gmail.com, and I will meet you very soon with yet another urban problem, urban challenge, and there I am going to talk about housing and slums. So till then, my dear friends, be happy, be safe, take care. Thank you all. Bye-bye.